Hey there, Paul Clinton again with The Right Way. Wanted to share three lessons I learned in journalism that I still use in my business, in my sales and marketing. I spent like a lot of the early part of my career as a writer, as a journalist. I interviewed a lot of interesting people. I learned a lot about different areas of society. I learned a lot about how to talk to people and how to structure written content in a certain way that would make it engaging. So there just are a few things that I still use, and I kind of wanted to go over that, and hopefully that would help you potentially when you're developing content that will make it a little bit more clear, a little bit more structured, and will have a better chance to resonate with the prospects that you're trying to connect with. So just kind of go through them one, two, three. So lesson number one for me right now is always show proof. In journalism, you have to cite statistics, you have to quote experts, things like that. In business, when you're doing case studies and testimonials, and we see this all the time, that a lot of this stuff that's on websites and that companies use is very surface level. It doesn't have a lot of depth to it. It doesn't really show the proof. So when you're doing case studies and testimonials, and I do them this way, is they need to be kind of structured in a certain way to land. And the way we do it is we kind of use a certain format: the before, the process, and the outcome. So rather than trying to get a testimonial or a case study that's going to sort of cheerlead for the company, and it's just going to talk about how amazing, fantastic, and helpful we are. That only goes so far with someone who's really trying to solve real business problems. So showing like the customer's situation when they first arrived, being very detailed and intentional about the process that you use to help them solve that problem, and showing the outcome that they got out of that is really a fantastic way to build trust. Let's go on to lesson number two. Don't get too technical. In journalism, we typically try to write a story that can be relatable to almost anybody who can read that story and understand what's happening, and that actually also works well for business communication. Whether it's a blog post or whether it's a sales email or marketing email, anything. When you get too technical, even if you sell a technical product or service, if you get too in the weeds on that before even learning what the pain points are for your prospects or what they're trying to solve, it's just going to be counterproductive for you. This ultra technical info oftentimes causes prospects, even technical ones, to kind of glaze over. You've kind of lost them before you get a chance to even talk about what you can do. Lesson number three from journalism was just to really focus on the human element. And whether it's when we do this in journalism, a lot of times we'll write human interest stories, or we'll do stories that focus on the ups and the downs, the tragedy, the comedy, the obstacles that humans overcome, and that makes for those stories are great stories, and people want to read them. And even though we don't necessarily in business want to tell human interest stories all the time, we can include the human element in anything we do, and we should. Especially now in the age of AI, where everybody is supposed to be impressed by your 26-step AI workflow, or how you've automated your entire customer service department with AI, and all that stuff sounds great. But really, we need to construct messaging in sales and marketing when we talk to people that accounts for human psychology and emotions. And that's a whole another topic for another video. But all I'm saying is that having that aspect. Not being afraid to cater to human psychology and emotion is very powerful, because as many studies have shown, one of the biggest motivators for change for people is usually either current pain or fear of future pain, as opposed to like rewards. So that's just one aspect of thinking about human psychology when we're in business.